Here is the Harvey Bandmaster Delta. This is the deluxe version that I was lucky enough to procure from a nice seller who packed this so well. I think somewhere in the Midwest, Indiana or somewhere. And this just came in yesterday, so I've been not too involved with it until about an hour ago, and then I decided to unbox it. I've been working on the HP 23 power supply, which I want to power this thing with. This thing needs about 5 or 6 amps at 6 volts for the filaments AC, or probably DC. And it needs about 475 volts for the B plus in the final. All I have to give this guy is 350 volts from this power supply, so we'll see how that works out. I may want to supply the B plus to the final from the HV power supply in this thing and feed it that way, so we'll see how it goes. But this is the TBS model 50D, and why I wanted this one is it has the mic input and extra tubes for a dynamic or a crystal mic. It doesn't have the carbon mic. I really didn't want to get involved with carbon mics again, so that's the story on this thing. Pretty cool. It's primitive. You need a VFO to run it, or crystals, which I have neither right now. But you start somewhere. And it has plate modulation. It even has a modulation transformer inside of it, so kind of cool. Controls all work. These are variable capacitors, power. These switches go out to the back pins on this thing for the meter. I'm not sure how this one works, but it's obvious what it does. It probably simply cuts out the plate transformer. And the bands. This thing has like 6,000 bands on it. Not sure what they all are yet, but that's probably 160 or 80 or something. Anyway, my goal is to get this thing going. The seller was so precise. And I asked them to box the tubes up, but they did more than box them. They wrapped them up individually. Incredible seller. I have to give them a good compliment. They did an incredible packing job in this thing. Nothing got damaged. This thing is very, very clean inside. It's pristine. I've already gone through the rotary switches and cleaned them as best I can with detox it. So that's been done. When I saw a picture of this thing, I thought, it looks pretty fragile. But no, it's not. This thing is really built well. It looked like a toy, but it works well. So it's kind of a miniature little transmitter. It's, I guess, built for mobile. It's small, but it looks mighty to me. Here's the capacitors, plate, load, all that. I guess I'll have to get familiar with all these parts, what they do, how they work, if I'm going to fix this thing. The good news is all these coils are tunable from the top with a screwdriver, so there's no hex screw. What else is really cool about this thing is how it does the drive. It has this brass screw, and somehow it has this little box in the middle that distributes the torque. I did grease the detent thing in here. Let's see if I can flop it over without breaking anything. Alright, flopping it over without breaking anything. There, it's leaning on something, but okay, so here are the detents right here. Let's see. I did grease all the detents. There they are. You can see the grease on that spring bearing. So they have a bearing on a spring thing here, a piece of metal that flops around, and it's well done. I did grease that up. So it should be ready to go once I get the tubes in this thing, and if it all functions. If all these domino capacitors work, which I guess are micas. we'll see what this thing will do, if anything. I still gotta wire up the plug for the back of it. The guy never sent me this plug, but I have this one, so I can build that plug up. So, might be another hour or two. Maybe I won't get to this tonight, but it's on its way, and I'll have a tough time putting a signal in here. I'm thinking about using my little Chinese signal generator, try and throw some signal in there, see if it'll go. But anyway, that's where I'm at with the transmitter here. That's about where I'm at with it. Yeah, it's kind of obtuse in that you can stand it up okay, but you can't flop it over the other way. It won't stand up. So, and I don't want to get my hands all over this stuff here and screw it up. Let's see. You don't want to handle the paint, that's for sure. Handle the back of it. It's not dusty in here, so this thing was sealed up nice, and it didn't. Well, I guess there's no way for dust to get in here, but there's all the coils, and of course in military style it's all wired. This has the World War II wiring in it from that era because it was made then. Really, really cool. But it has enough room in here where you can actually get things done. So the two modulator tubes, 6L6s go here. Here, this is like a little deck they added. You can see where they've kind of added this as an option. And these are probably bad, but this is for basically the, oh, I got a lot of capacitors in there. Ugh. I gotta replace those for sure. Yeah, those won't work anymore. But this down here is for the crystal or dynamic microphone, which is what I wanted. I wanted broadcast audio out of this thing, if I can get it. And then this is like an option selector here. This is crazy. This whole thing is really obtuse, but the manual talks about how to wire this whole thing up. I'm not even sure if it's right yet. I'm not addressing that. I'm just gonna look at this thing operationally and figure out what I can do to first of all fix anything that's broken, like capacitors that are worn out and all that. These two, everything under there has probably got to get fixed. So just take it easy, I guess. I kind of want to get working quickly, but maybe I can't do that. Maybe quick is not going to happen on this thing. Anyway, that's my little tour of this thing, Harvey Wells. You probably won't see many of these. I've seen a few of these on YouTube, but nothing extensive about them, nothing in this detail. So anyway, there's your detail. I have no good idea how this works yet. This is probably the 2-meter coil. This thing will do 2 meters, which is nuts. The guy was really crazy. Harvey Wells, who built this thing, just nuts. To do 2 meters back then in 1945. Craziness. All right, anyway, I guess I'm gonna fool around replacing some capacitors, and I need to get this plug, and that came from North Carolina, so I asked the guy to send it to me. He didn't send me the whole kit, so that's a bummer. Anyway, TBS-50 option D Deluxe. I'm not sure what this little plug is for, neutralizing or something, I don't know. They have this thing kind of tucked in here. Oh, okay, look at that. No, look at that. That goes to the plate. That's rather shaky looking, isn't it? So this wire will have to be carefully, well, maybe not. I have no idea how that works. Anyway, I gotta inspect everything for accuracy and make sure that there's nothing that's out of shape. You can just look at basic connections and make sure things aren't shorted. That wire is insulated of some sort. It's so fragile, you just don't want to touch it. Okay, that's like a sample port, so that just samples off that coil. That's all that is, a sampling port. So that could be for tuning it or something. Nothing more. The solder work in this thing looks pretty good. Sometimes you gotta go through and desolder, but it looks like this thing is built like a tank. The solder work looks nice. You always want to check for resistors that are under load. That one. Make sure those are all in spec. So my other worry is the modulation board, whatever this board's called, this option board on the bottom where the, let's see if I can turn it over without breaking it. Jeez. Okay, so those are down by the modulation, and now you can't stand up like this because there's no way to, there's nothing on your side to support it, so it kind of flops and hits the coils, so you gotta not do that. But anyway, here's the bottom. I gotta right away replace these tigers and get all that crap out of there. Bunch of old capacitors that gotta go. The electrolytics could be crap too, so that will be taken care of right now. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great day.